Alrighty. Hi folks. How you doing? Long time no hear from you, huh? First of all, as always, you folks are the best. And thank you very much. And I mean that, folks. So I know I haven't been making videos for a long time. I know it's disappointing to a lot of people. I promise I'm gonna start making more videos, okay? What do I, been doing? What I always do. I'm a scholar. I'm an intellectual. I fucking study every goddamn thing. Mainly philosophical shit, But, so I make this video for you today, and I'll go ahead and also I'll ramble around and get off topic a little bit here and there for you, just so to tie other shit in, I know you love that, so excuse me. Drink some Arizona iced tea. It must have went down the wrong way, but so this video is about Joseph of the coat of many colors in the Bible. So to set the record straight, put it together for you, what he really was all about, what the story really means. So you got this person who is with his family, so it's with his dad and his brothers. And his brothers like to turn on him and betray him or something like that. So they're traveling in Egypt, and his brothers turn on him and betray him or whatever, and get him in prison by the Pharaoh. So he gets in prison. Okay. So the Pharaoh has a dream, and you know how in ancient, well, not ancient Egypt, but Egypt, dynastic Egypt, the court had all kinds of, soothsayers and, stuff like that, magicians, oracles, astrologers, people that deal with magic. And they're pretty goddamn good at what they did. I mean, they always were, because they would have to prove themselves. So, but none of them could interpret the Pharaoh's dream. So Joseph knew that the Pharaoh had a dream, okay, and so he had to get the message to the Pharaoh that he understood his dream. So he kept on, and he finally got that message to the Pharaoh that he understood his dream or whatever. So the Pharaoh's like, well, shit, ain't nobody else understood this shit, or whatever. So, all right, fuck it, let's listen to this motherfucker. So, winds up, he interprets the Pharaoh's dream correctly and proves it. And so the Pharaoh, after that, stops being the Pharaoh by his own accord, by his own volition, by his own choice. Okay, I'm not the Pharaoh anymore, fuck it. And he made Joseph the Pharaoh. Okay. So this motherfucker goes from in prison, a nobody, to the goddamn Pharaoh. That's like going over to Skid Row or something, and just getting a bum and making that motherfucker president of the United States. Then, see, so it makes no sense. So, from that perspective, see. So, Joseph is an expert, and and at that time in the world, you got two experts, two cultures that are probably they have the foremost experts on that kind of stuff on the planet. So you could say the Persian Magi and the hot Tibetan Lamas. But you can easily tie the Persian Magi, because it's just Magi is just a title, and they're just in Persian. It doesn't necessarily have to be Persian. Okay, it's called the Persian Magi, because that's where they're like, that's where they operate from or whatever. So they don't. It doesn't have to be exclusively Persians. See what I'm saying? So and Persian Empire, does go all the way up into, used to go all the way up into Asia Minor and Central Asia. So it would have touched Tibet. You know what I'm saying? So and then Zoroastrianism, which was a religion exclusively Persian, and it was a magical kind of religion. But it had a lot of really good philosophies and stuff like that, and it was the kind of a precursor, believe it or not, to Tibetan Buddhism, because Zoroaster's father was named Zen. And Zen wrote the Zend-Avesta. And the Zend-Avesta is essentially the basis of Tibetan Buddhism. So you see we have that complete interlocking connection of Persian magic to Tibetan magic. See? So with no degrees of separation. All right. So now we know that dynastic Egypt influences, especially occult influences, Gnostic stuff and secrets and magical secrets and all that stuff, that there's 100%, every scholar on the planet, even the Oriental Institute, University of Chicago, whatever, will tell you, the scholars will say that it's the Persian influence on Egypt at that time that is greater than the indigenous Egypt influence. Okay, so you see? So now we got this connection of Tibet interlocked with Persian magic interlocked with Egyptian magic, and actually the central influence at that particular time. So, now you remember the story of Jesus, and there's no doubt about it, irrevocably, that Jesus was the last Egyptian pharaoh. Okay. Heir to the throne of Persia, Rome, as well as Egypt simultaneously. So that little story you hear about, the King of Kings or whatever, that's the basis of that. So now when Jesus was born, who was the three motherfuckers that came to see him? And they just, they tracked his birth by the stars. Right? Who were they? The Persian Magi. Now, who has the most talent in the area of astrological soul tracking to figure out who somebody is? Well, that's a no-brainer. There's no doubt it's the high Tibetan Lamas. They tracked 13 consecutive Dalai Lama's incarnations. Now we have the quote-unquote great 14th or whatever, who was Tenzin Gyatso, 14th Dalai Lama, who, is much different than the first 13, because the first 13 would teach, all of the esoteric stuff. They would teach the secrets of the high Tibetan Lamas in public. Now, Tenzin Gyatso won't do that. He won't even talk about, he won't even talk about a lot of he won't even talk about the ancient wisdom of the high Tibetan Lamas. It's just stuff he won't even talk about in public. And there's a lot of stuff that there's a lot of stuff that they talked about. So, that they taught, and so, I could rattle off all kinds of examples about stuff that he won't talk about that, you know, that they taught. And one of them is, you know, they taught that there is a connection. I mean, they would teach it out loud that there have been times in the past where we have been visited by people from, you know, outer space or whatever in spacecraft, as well as the fact that in parts of the Himalayas there are places where actually some of these old artifacts are stored. Now, they taught that shit for 1,300 years, and they even say that some of the hot Tibetan lamas are so dynamic, you know, that they can climb these straight, just, you know, sheer cliffs, you know, thousands and thousands of feet high, because they can so control their body temperature and resonance and the effects going in or out, that they can basically climb these mountains in the Himalayas with just their robes, sandals, just like the stuff they wear around the monastery, with nothing extra. And they can climb it faster than a person with all this equipment and stuff. So, you know, he won't teach those kind of stories out in public. You know what I mean? It's kind of like Pope John Paul II, when he wouldn't reveal the third secret of Fatima. You know, when they had that event in Guadalupe, Hidalgo or whatever, where there was a vision in the sky to these three young Catholic girls, and it was Lady of Fatima, so it was Mary, and she revealed some secrets to them that needed to be given to the Pope or the leaders of the church, or the Catholic Church, and she did, and they did. But the third secret, whatever it was, the popes wouldn't reveal it. So see, that's real similar to the way that Pope John Paul II wouldn't reveal it. He's just a geopolitician, which is exactly like Tenzin Gyatso. So I say that he's not the same as the first $13 bomb. Okay, but so we got this connection of Joseph, no doubt about it, to Persian magic. We got this story of Persian magic directly connected to Egypt at the time that he would have been there in prison. You know what I'm saying? The exact same time frame. So, and also on another side note, you know, the story of, it's not exactly the same person, but it's just a similar, interesting story. I don't think that there's any, you know, I don't think there's any blending that they're the same person, but the story of Saint Gregory of Armenia is real similar to the story of Joseph, you know, the coat of many colors. You know, Saint Gregory, you know, was like real dynamic and kind of outspoken and a spiritual leader, and you know, so they put him in jail. He stays in jail for a long time, like 20, 30 years or something like that. And then one day, the king of Armenia or whatever has an epiphany, like, this motherfucker that's in jail, he's like Jesus, he's like God or something. You know what I mean? He's unbelievable, you know. And they let him out. And the point I'm making is that you could get, with the knowledge that people like him and Joseph possessed back in those days, you could be seen as, you know, you could be in prison for that shit. I mean, you could be in prison for being that smart. You know, I mean, we've seen that in America. We've seen that in the world. Remember Ezra Pound, the world's greatest poet ever, got in prison for no other reason than he just was so smart. That was it. Period. Put him in Bethesda, no charges against him, just lock him up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, only because he was able to expose and dissent against the political system. But so Joseph, you had this direct connection, and we've established everything here, and so now you take the reason why he's called the coat of many colors. That's the clue. So it was well established the fact that this magic that he performed basically came from Tibet. There's no doubt about it. The clue is the coat of many colors. What's the coat of many colors? Just Google search your Google search photos for Tibetan prayer flag. That's the answer. If you look at the Tibetan prayer flag, it's the coat of many colors. It has a coat of many colors. So see? Yeah. So, let's see if there's anything else I want to tell you about from this story or whatever. I think that about covers it. So, anyway, like I said, I'll be making more videos for you guys. I promise. They'll be coming up. I'll try to even start doing one like every other day or every third day or something like that. Okay? Alright, so thank you very much for watching. And have a great day. Alright, bye.